What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Universal Mastery. So what I do on my channel is I break down the occult sciences to a practical level so that you can use them and apply them in your day-to-day life and get real, actual results. Now, what we're going to be talking about in today's video is pretty much what to expect in the year of 2021. And the title of the video is going to be called 2021, the Year of the Adversary. And that is the truth. This is definitely going to be the year of adversarial types of change. I'm going to go into a little bit more depth of why I feel like that is. So if you want to know what to expect for 2021 and what spiritual forces are going to be very eminent, then definitely stay tuned for the rest of the video. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is definitely make sure you check out my Patreon. On my Patreon, I have exclusive content. Some of that content is going to be geared towards actual spiritual practices that I perform on camera and break down so that you can perform them yourself and get real actual results. Now, the other bit of the videos are going to be geared towards educational entertainment, which is a video that's just like this. It's entertaining, yet you're getting a lot of value from it at the same time. So in order to gain access to the exclusive content, you have to at least be a tier 2 member or up. In order to be a tier 2, it costs $9.95 a month, and that is a reoccurring payment. So if you do the math, that literally comes out to less than $1 a day. So there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be able to afford that with the value that's being offered. Where you're going to be able to find the Patreon is if you go to the if you hit the drop down in the description, you're going to see that very first link at the top. It says My Patreon right next to it. That's where you'll find it. And then as you go up in tiers, the benefits increase as well. So with that being said, I would love to give a special shout out to the top tier members of the Patreon already. Their names are going to be mentioned right below that Patreon link. So huge shout out to you, ladies and gentlemen. Other than that, let's go right into this video. Okay, so there's a couple things that I want to cover. Okay, there's a couple things that I want to cover. So first thing that I want to cover in regards to 2021 is I want it to be clear that we're shifting. As a mass collective consciousness, we've shifted from the age of Capricorn into the age of Aquarius. So we went from a earth sign to a air sign. So Aquarius, for some of you don't know this. A lot of people think Aquarius is a water sign because of the name, and I understand that, but Aquarius is actually an air sign. So that means that this new age that we're living in is primarily going to be ruled by the element of air. Now, what exactly does that mean? Okay, well, you got to understand the elements to understand what that's going to mean and how that's going to influence you and the mass collective as a whole. So air represents analytical thinking. Air represents intelligence. Air represents intellect, knowing, just like this divine intellect. And air also represents letting go, flowing without form. I mean, air is all around us, but we can't necessarily see it. It's formless. Okay, it's very fast. Like if you were in a desert and there was a storm, you would see the air through the sand that's being lifted up, but it's going so fast and it's formless. It can hit you, it can hurt, but it's still formless at the end of the day. So air is this intelligence that is very formless, that is extremely spiritual, because it's a higher level of intellect. It's a level of intellect that's not just based on earth, just like, hey, 2 + 2 = 4. If I put this here and I build this on top of it, then, I'll have my, a building, or, I'll have I'll have the structure I'm looking for. Air is a different kind of intellect. It's an intellect that goes beyond solidity. It's an intellect that goes beyond the physical plane. As I said, it is a higher intellect. It's a knowing. It is this, it's even, you could even say it's an urge to figure out about the formless. It's an urge to figure out about the subtle, the subconscious, the unseen. It's like this fire within that's like, I want to know about it. I want to learn the properties and the systems of how the universe functions, of how energy actually works, and how can I manipulate it. That's what that, this is what, as our mass collective consciousness has shifted into an air sign, this is the type of influence it's going to have on the mass collective consciousness. That means every single person is going to feel this to a different degree. Some people are obviously going to be more inclined towards utilizing that air element energy and like really dive into their own spirituality, really dive into the hidden aspects of life and understand higher truth. And then other people are going to feel that influence, but they're going to try to ignore it. They're going to try to act like, it's made, they may try to act like it's not real. They may try to distract themselves to prevent themselves from learning these higher truths. Because let's be honest, when you start to learn higher truths, especially when it comes to the occult, when it comes to your subconscious, your unconscious, I mean, that gets really dark, okay? It's not easy to do that. There are going to be things that you will learn that sometimes you wish you never learned. But, in the long run, it ends up being beneficial for you as long as you sit on it and you integrate that information. See, that's the whole process. You have to sit with it and you have to integrate the information. A lot of people don't have the patience to integrate things. They want it now, and if they can't get it now and it doesn't make sense or it doesn't make them feel good in the moment, they don't want anything to do with it. But they forget that when you come across something that's very big, I mean, when you come across an idea or a belief or a truth that's for you and it's really big and it's life-changing. Like if you come across a life-changing systematic belief or your own belief or idea, I mean, that potentially, that belief or that thing that you came across can potentially shift your entire life's direction. So obviously, if you're going to come across something that big, it's going to take some time for that to fully integrate in your body so that your body can make the adjustments that it needs based off this new information in regards to what are you going to do next based off of what you just learned. Your body needs to be able to integrate that, okay? But once again, if you come across a very powerful truth or a very powerful idea or belief or understanding, and you don't allow your body to integrate it and you don't sit with it, because at first it's not going to be comfortable. Like when you learn things, it shakes up your belief system. That makes you unstable. That makes you like, whoa, I thought things were this way, but I guess they're not. And it does that to you. And if you're not willing to sit with that and feel that level of being uncomfortable and let that integrate into your being, then that truth or that belief doesn't process through your body. Okay? And when it doesn't process through your body, that means it doesn't stay with you. And if it doesn't stay with you, that means you're not able to use the value that's in that belief or in that new understanding. Okay, you're not able to use that to actually change your life. And that's the whole reason why you came across it in the first place. And sometimes there are truths and there are understandings, there's beliefs, ideas that are so powerful and so important for your own individualized life that you will continue, if you don't integrate it the first time or the second time or the third time, the same truth will continue showing up at your front door. It will continue and continue and continue to keep coming around until you finally integrate it. So obviously, if you are on the track of evolution and you want it to happen in the most natural and the fastest way, you want to be able to integrate all of the truths, beliefs, and ideas and understandings that you possibly can, so that they can change you, so that you can alter your life by having integrated that idea or that belief or that truth, rather than extending the process and trying to distract yourself until it finally sinks in. And sometimes there's people that distract themselves so much, and they run away from these ideas and these beliefs that literally can change their life, and they do that so much that it literally ends up costing them a major price. It ends up, and what I mean by that is like bad things start to happen. The person starts to lose large amounts of money out of nowhere. The person may break something, they may twist something, they may find that their physical body is showing them signs that they need to get on track. Okay, and this is all connected to shadow work as well. They may find that they develop illness. Okay, if they're not, if they're not evolving on the path that they're here and supposed to evolve and go down, that's when bad things happen. And the bad things happen not just because they're bad, they happen so that they can teach you. They can show you signs. Oh shit, you know what? Maybe I should walk in this direction. Oh shit, maybe I should listen to what this person said, or maybe I should try to understand this idea more, because it seems like every time I don't, something bad happens. Okay, so you want to follow it. It's a compass. It's not just something bad. It's happening for a reason. Okay, you want to ask the question, why is this happening? So that you can course correct. Okay, so with that being said, we are moving in the age of Aquarius, so it's ruled by air. That's going to be definitely a primary elemental shift that we're going to feel. So there's also going to be two spirits that are coming to my mind that I wanted to mention in this video that are going to be very prominent spirits as well, because they're both spirits that have major connections with the element of air. And these are two very adversarial spirits. So the first spirit that is definitely going to have a major influence in 2021 is going to be Lucifer, because Lucifer is a spirit of air. And the next spirit is going to be Satan. Okay, Satan is the prince of air, the prince of powers of air. So the principalities of air, whatever the Bible says about that. So these are two spirits that have a very strong elemental connection to air. Okay. And obviously both these spirits definitely have a lot of other connections as well, to different types of planets and things like that, and that comes into play. But with that air being prominent within these spirits, these two spirits that I just mentioned, we are definitely going to see a very strong influence of what Lucifer represents and what Satan represents. So the first one I'm going to break down is what Lucifer represents. Lucifer represents the ability to dive into darkness and build yourself in darkness, and to build your own kingdom in darkness, to build power in darkness. And what does that mean? Because what the Bible told you is not true. It's not what that meant. It's not that he disobeyed God and then he got sent to hell and then he just started to build a kingdom down there. There's a meaning behind that. Okay, so what that means is that Lucifer is a spirit, is an energetic intelligence that represents the ability to dive into consciously your own darkness, to dive into the darkest avenues of life itself and of the universe and creation. And then by diving into that, you bring a new light to that darkness, because whenever you discover something in darkness, it actually turns to light. It's no longer dark to you anymore. What darkness is subconscious, unconscious, and things that are outside of your awareness. So when you're diving into darkness and you're becoming aware of these things, that's turning it to a light. Okay, that's putting light. That's literally, you could say that's turning darkness into light. You can almost think of it like transmuting the darkness into light. Rather than just shining light on the darkness goes away. It's more like taking the darkness and transmuting it, transforming it into light. So that's what happens. When you start to work with the spirit Lucifer, you will find yourself consciously diving into avenues of your own subconscious, unconscious, and the more subtle occult, darker aspects of life and yourself. And you will be going into these things with the understanding, or with the conscious awareness of, I am doing this for a reason. And that reason is, I want to empower myself. I want to learn from this darkness. I want to become a better version of myself. I want to become more self-aware. Okay, so that's what Lucifer represents. Okay, remember, he was the angel, the complete light being that fell from heaven, that went down to hell, being the Qliphoth, from the Sephiroth to the Qliphoth. He went down to hell, and within hell, he built a kingdom. He became an absolute ruler because he learned how to maneuver through darkness. He learned how to become darkness. He's an angel and he's a demon. He's an angel and a devil at the same time. And that's what that's representing is he's a balanced being. He is a balanced being. Okay, we all have a darker aspect to us and a lighter aspect to us. It's in our nature. It's the yin to the yang. Okay, the feminine to the masculine. We all have this, no matter who or what you are. So that's what Lucifer represents. He's the spirit that consciously went into the darker avenues of life to be empowered, and he rebelled against the church. He rebelled against the religious belief. You could even say he rebelled against the mass collective patterns of, no, you don't want to do that. You'll go to hell, this and that and that. He said, no, I'm going to do this regardless. I'm going to figure out what this is about. I'm feeling led to go this route. So because I'm feeling led to go this route, no matter what you tell me is not going to change my opinion or change my mind or change my direction. So he went down to the darker avenues of life and transformed and became a ruler. Okay, that's what that spirit represents. So we're going to see a lot of people this year in 2021, whether you believe Lucifer is a real spirit or not, you're going to see a lot of people be influenced by the spirit of Lucifer. And there's going to be a lot of people that choose to dive into the darker avenues of their life and to dive into the darker aspects of their self. And it's going to be a conscious decision. There's going to be a lot of people that consciously understand, you know what? I feel like I need to evolve now. I feel like I've been kind of slacking this past couple years, and it's time for me to dive into this avenue of life. So we're going to see a lot of people do that. And to be honest, there's going to be people that do that and fail. Okay, diving into the darker avenues of yourself and life is not an easy process, and it is not something to be joked around with. It is a real path of power, and it will completely change you. But there are going to be people that are not going to be able to handle their own shadow, and they're not going to be able to handle their own darkness. And I'm just saying that because that's a fact. And I want you to understand that, you know, it's not just like everyone needs to be aware that they need to dive into these avenues of their life, and then everyone's just going to everyone's just going to do it and everything's going to be wonderful. There's going to be many people that dive into the dark avenues of their self and life in general, and they're going to be successful. They're going to have learned so much knowledge, wisdom, and understanding about themselves and about everything around them, and they are going to rise as completely different beings. But there are also going to be many people that dive into the darker avenues of their self, and they're not going to really understand how real it is. They're not going to have the intent that is leading them towards their highest evolution. They're going to be just like, I feel like I just need to do this, so I'm going to do it. Or, I want a lot of money, or I want the reasons that they're going to be led towards that, you could say that darker path of evolution isn't going to be strong enough to allow them to be successful with it. And what does that mean? That means that their intent is not in line with their own evolution. That means they're just doing things to, be looked at as a better person. Like if you're getting into the darker side of evolution and you're doing it because you want other people to think you're powerful, and you're doing it based on what other people think, you're not doing it for yourself, your own evolution, there's a high chance you're not going to be successful with it. And I'm telling you, there will be a lot of people that fail. Okay, there will be a lot of people that we're going to see this year that are going to commit suicide. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be extremely depressed. There is going to be more death for sure. It's 100%. There's going to be different shifts. There's going to be tectonic shifts. Probably going to be earthquakes. Definitely going to be more fires. We're going to see a lot of that. And then, as I said, like when I say there's going to be more death, it's just naturally going to manifest because we're at a huge turning point in the mass collective right now, where right now what's going on is you either evolve or you die. Okay, you either evolve, go to the next stage, progress, or you're done. Okay, your time here is done. And that's literally, evolution does not care about if you're ready or not necessarily. Okay, it does accommodate to people at different levels, but if you're like, prove it to me, I'd rather do what I'm doing and continue doing this forever, you're in trouble then. Okay, and that's just a fact. And then most likely, you know, if you don't make it, you know, you're just gonna start over. And it's not that big of a deal. It's not like, oh my God, you died, like someone died, they died. It's like we are trained and we're indoctrinated to think that death is such a big deal. It's like the end of everything. And yes, you know, you obviously want to live your longest life. You want to get the most out of life. But, you know, if you don't, you're just going to reincarnate. Your energy is going to cycle back here and you're going to have another chance to do it. And that's going to happen over and over and over and over and over and over until you finally evolve. Okay, until you become more refined and you're able to break that cycle of reincarnation. So with that being said, that we're going to see a lot of that. That's a fact. This is definitely going to be a major shifting year. 2021, we're going to see things that we've never seen before. We're going to start seeing peaks into very wonderful aspects of society that are going to change. So what do I mean by that? We're going to start seeing things in our society change that are going to be really good changes. Okay, we're going to see that in 2021. We're going to see things that used to be one way for so long, and they're going to change. Okay, things are going to shift, and they're going to be like, we're going to see a lot of spirituality. For sure. There's going to be a much more mainstream energetic current behind spirituality. So right now, there's already a pretty mainstream current. Like we have the light workers, we have the people that do chakra work and all that stuff. It's going to get way more. Like spirituality and occult knowledge eventually is going to become mainstream. Okay? And then as that becomes more, as occult knowledge and spirituality starts to spread more, the deeper truths are going to start being much more looked at. So the deeper truths are going to be much more looked at when it comes to the occult, because, you know, chakra work is just chakra like that. I would not even write. I have videos on it, how to remove your chakras. I would not do chakra work. It screws you over. And I explain why in that video. When it comes to light workers, like I would not be a light worker for any, like I would not dedicate my soul and my life to just being a light worker. And there's reasons why I believe that. And those reasons are going to come to the surface. And people are going to start diving into the real avenues of what is so important about spirituality, because there really is a reason why you should develop yourself in your own spirituality. And right now in our society, that's not eminent at all. I know what it is. It has to do with initiation, and it has to do with the proper path of evolution. There really is a systematic way to evolve through magic and through occult forces, but no one really, most people don't know about it. Most people have no idea about this, even professional occultists. People that claim to be professional occultists, I should say. And that knowledge is going to be more eminent as time goes on. Now, let's talk about Satan. Satan is the spirit of the adversary. Okay, he is the adversarial spirit. I mean, we look at him in Christianity. He is the adversary. So, although he is also a spirit of air, he's intellect. Satan is a spirit of rebellion, just straight up. He's a spirit that will rebel for a purpose. There is a reason, an intellectual, air-type, formless, higher truth reason why that spirit of Satan rebels against the mainstream. Satan is a spirit that rebels, okay? He's the spirit that says, okay, everyone said go right, well, I'm going to go left, okay? I'm going to go left because I know how people work. I know how people make their decisions, and if they're all going right, then that tells me that I'm better off going left, okay? That's that energy behind Satan. So we're going to see this manifest. Once again, whether you believe Satan is real as a spirit or not, you're going to see how this spirit, how real and powerful this spirit is in the year of 2021. And you're going to see a lot of people begin to rebel. So there's going to be people that we never seen rebel before that are going to get into certain circumstances and situations, whether it's politically, whether it's on social medias. This is going to happen to a lot of people that we've never seen before, where they get into some maybe agreement, and then that agreement goes south, and then they end up rebelling from what they got themselves into. They're like, no, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. This was fake. This was not good. We're going to see a lot of that. We're going to see a lot of rebellion. A lot of people are going to start speaking the truth. Excuse me. A lot of people are going to start speaking the truth of how they actually feel and how they actually perceive things. So right now, we're living in an age, or I shouldn't say that. We've just experienced for the past almost year a whole thing called cancel culture. So there's a lot of people that are afraid to say what they truly believe. And it doesn't matter if what you say is right or wrong. It's you have the right to say it. And by saying it, then you can learn. But if I say something wrong and I get canceled for saying wrong, then I never want to say something wrong again. So I have to monitor everything I say. And then that makes it harder for me to evolve, and that will make it harder for anyone else to evolve. So this whole cancel culture thing is going to disappear, okay? Within time, within some point within 2021, we're not really going to see cancel culture anymore, because we're moving in, I mean, as I said, the age of Aquarius ruled by air, Satan being one of the major spirits that's going to have a huge influence on the mass collective. He's going to promote and encourage people to speak how they truly feel. And that way that they truly feel is naturally going to be rebellious towards the already built-in patterns of how people are operating. So all these I have to talk in this way. I have to address you in this way. I have to think this way. I have to say these things. If I say this, then that means that people are not going to like me. That means I'm going to get less views. All that stuff is going to go out the window at some point in 2021. People are going to realize that evolution is the most important thing in life. And whatever we need to do as a society to understand that and to create a space, a mass collective space to promote evolutionary growth, that's what we're going to start understanding and moving into within 2021. Okay, so Satan is definitely a major adversarial spirit ruled by Saturn. So there's going to be a lot of Saturnian changes. There's going to be a lot of shadow work. People are going to be forced to do shadow work, and while they do their shadow work, they're gonna have to rebel, because shadow work is rebelling. Okay, shadow work is saying, you know what, I don't feel so good right now, so I need to start working with my shadow, start integrating my shadow so that I can start evolving. And then typically when you do shadow work, other people look at that and they're like, oh, what's going on with this person? They look like they're so focused on themselves. Like, why are they acting like that? Why aren't they so friendly? Why aren't they greeting us the way they normally do? Why don't they hang out with us? Why don't they laugh with us? Why don't they laugh at our jokes anymore? Like, we used to be friends. You used to be so awesome. What happened to you? And that's going to be another natural thing. There's going to be a lot of shadow work that's done, and that's going to cause people to evolve. And while people are doing shadow work, that's a state of very raw. Shadow work is a state of very raw emotion and raw understanding. So people are going to naturally, in that state, doing the shadow work, they're going to naturally be saying how they feel, and how they truly feel from their spirit is naturally going to be rebellious. Okay, I'm telling you. So other than that, that's going to wrap it up. The video is going to come to an end here. So if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell because I post videos as often as I can, and also hit the subscribe button as well because I love to see my subscribers go all the way up. And definitely make sure you check out the Patreon. It's going to be the first link in the description below. I have extra content on there once again. Then go to the second link below. It's going to take you to the Facebook community. Click that. You're going to see a pinned post of a private group. Request to join the private group. Once I get 50 people in there, I'm going to be posting consistently and in the form of pictorial and written quotes. So other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.